Tesla van.
Yeah, I know. My dream car. One day they'll realize they let go of a diamond to play with rocks. And that's a powerful quote because most people will put the diamond down right before that pressure builds and it becomes that if you really hit it, you give up right before so you can go and be like everyone else. I did that for a long time. I will share a quick story. I got in the best shape ever and I looked different than the average person because I was genuinely like in that good of shape. And it was uncomfortable enough that I actually went out of my way to get in less shape so I could fit in with normal people at the beach. Because I was like, I don't like that I look objectively more, visually appealing maybe in some people's aspects. I don't like that feeling. I want to be normal. And I had that.
I
It was
did the
weird. I
same.
had
I
that
did the same thing.
mindset for a couple years of like, let me get myself back to normal so that I look normal. And then I was like, wait, why would I ever do that? That's literally what? But it was something that took me like years of me being, even when I was self-aware, I was unaware. And like, that's why I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because I had this like 4 or 5 month bender of watching the same type of idols that were all, I'm not gonna lie, they're probably more conservative, like a lot of Jordan Peterson, those kind of people who are just kind of like, bro, shut the fuck up and do your shit. Shut the fuck up and do your shit. And I kept hearing that type of message and basically like giving me the other side of the argument that I wasn't seeing for a while. I was seeing so much of this type of content, this type of message, and to see the other side for a while just like brought back another side of me. And I was like, yo, I forgot about vintage Cade. He disappeared about 8 months ago. He got burned out. He went through a bunch of shit. He kind of disappeared for a while. He wasn't putting in the work. He wasn't respecting himself. And a switch just flipped. And that turned into me running a half marathon yesterday kind of thing. Like it just is possible. Like you just can do the thing. I just ran 14 miles with no training. I just did. I have never ran more than 6 miles. And that was something I trained for. I was a college athlete. Like I was running that much for soccer and stuff, but I've never done anything like that. And I just did it out of the blue. And I went through a bunch of fucking mental things, especially the last 4 miles of that run. But it's just one of those things like if you just decide to do it and you choose to do it and you decide to earn your keep every day, there's some quote that I saw a long time ago and it said something is either your respect or your hustle is rented it's leased. I think it was your respect is leased and you have to earn it every single day. And that's like the respect for yourself as a man. Like every day you can do something. And then the one day you don't, you can sit there and be like, damn, bro, I really gave in that time. Like I really did that. And I think the more times that you can choose not to and choose to be great, eventually, bro, you have 150 out of 300 days of being great. That's way better than last year of only having 30 days of being great. Next thing you know, you're great 300 out of 365 days a year. You're a superhuman, and it's just one of those things that like that type of growth is possible, but it's one of those things that you have to decide every single day and it feels exhausting. But until you flip the script of I want to be that person who wakes up every day and does all those things, and that person, the only difference between me and that person is that person suffered through the thing I don't want to do, then the thing becomes, oh, so I want to be the person that suffers because that leads to the person that I'm trying to be. And that switch, as soon as that happened for me, every single excuse actually turned into smoke. Every time I woke up and I didn't want to wake up, I just got up because I was like, wait, no, I want to be someone who gets up though. The only difference between me and someone who gets up is I have to get up. And that for some reason, that mental switch with the right type of people around me that I'm watching, it changed me in a really good way. And that's why I've started to make a bunch of that content because I'm like, holy shit, I need to wake up. And I know there's people that right now that are like kind of almost right there. They're like, there's something missing. There's something missing up here that'll get me to understand why I'm not getting things done. And I want to help contribute to that movement. So that's what I dedicated this 25th year of my life to. Because if I dedicate myself to that, and in 3 years, 300 of my 365 days are being great, then I will have effectively changed my destiny. And I think a lot of people can do that. And that's what all of the Joyage is about, baby. Let's fucking go.
I think, first of all, I love your take on things. I love this new CADE, and I think it's great. I think that a lot of people, including myself, are guilty of being very hard on ourselves. So you could go through a day and do 9 things right, but you do one thing wrong, and when you're falling asleep at night, that's what you are thinking about, and that's what defines you. That in your mind to you. And a lot of this and it doesn't change as you get older. You're constantly working on yourself. A lot of issues and a lot of things that we're all going through are the inner voice inside of us, the narrative that we tell ourselves, the things that we speak to ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves. And I think if the average good person, I mean, if your bad is that you murdered someone that day, then all the good falls away and you're bad. But the average person, I think we've got to be kinder to ourselves. I really and truly do. The average good person who's out there working hard with good intention and trying, we got to be kinder to ourselves. I'm talking to myself as much as anyone else. We really do. And I'm not saying take your foot off the pedal of the car. I'm not saying don't give it 110%. I'm not saying that. I'm the complete opposite. Give it 110% every single day so that no matter what happens, you can say, I tried my best. Because then no matter what, if you end up homeless or if you end up in a mansion, you can honestly look yourself in the mirror and say, I tried my best. And if you can do that, then it doesn't matter where you end up because you know that you tried your best and this is your destiny. Because you can't do more than legitimately your best, which is 12, 15 hours a day, every day, doing the best thing you can with the best opportunities. So I'm saying if you are doing your best every day and you are putting your best foot forward and you really try not and be less hard on yourself with the one or two things. Yes, use them to learn for the next day, but don't let those things define you. Let the 9 out of 10 things define you. And I think that's important. I see Crypto Dream says, why did I delete the tweet? I'm not sure what tweet he means. There was one that I saw today that was really nice, that the only thing that matters, the tweet was of the effect of the only thing that matters is memorable good things like time with your family and things like that. Memories is what you take with you when you lie. The only reason I deleted that Crypto Dream was I retweeted it yesterday and I saw that it pushed down today's YouTube video, that it wasn't at the top of my thing, and I just wanted only that there so people would see it. But I actually
just retweet
I must go find it. But I randomly came across it. But so not even someone I was following. Someone I was following retweeted it.
No, retweet your video stream. It'll pop up at the top.
Next time. Okay.
But also,
you.
I was going to say
the other thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
And he said, and then I also want to say, I want you to say, and then I want to say as well, who's Shelly? So Shelly was the lady. So Cade posted a thing. I've been watching a lot of Cade's content lately. Cade posted a thing that he was sort of followed by this lady, and this lady scared him, and lucky he could run faster than her. And he was being very serious. He was like freaked out by this lady, and she couldn't keep up, and he was able to outrun her. So then I said as a joke, Shelly, that was Shelly. She was a lady I sent to give you your birthday present. Nice. It was just a joke, Crypto Dream. I'm not sure if you realized. Yeah, bro, that was funny. What did you want to say, Kate?
Well, first off, just to acknowledge that point, that video is referring to is I made a video because I was like, I was walking home. And some lady started following me. It was very obvious. And so I just started walking faster. And I was like, wait, I'm way fitter than you. You will not catch me. You will not catch me, bro. Sorry. And I started walking uphill and she literally had to stop and catch her breath. And I was like, I'm too fit. I'm literally too fit. And that's when I made a video. I was like, you need to be more fit. Because like, what if this happens?
It wasn't removed. That's still there. I only took away the other one. But I mean, Kate, you do know if she caught up to you, you could also smack her in the face if she tried to mug you or something. Just maybe. By the way, you're stronger than her.
Maybe, yeah. I probably wouldn't.
What were you so scared of? You were.
No, I wasn't so scared. The point of the video was to be like, you should be in better shape because what if that was a man with a knife or a gun? Like you don't know what it's going to be in what situation. She also might have had a gun, in which case it wouldn't matter what I had or didn't have. I'm fucked. I had no idea what she had.
Did she say anything to you?
I was too fast. She could not catch me. I walked right past her. And then she started following me. It was like this, right?
Yeah.
Sitting here, I'm walking up the hill. And then she starts coming up.
But what sort of look? Like, did she want to talk to you or what did she want?
She wanted something from me, bro. I don't know what she wanted. But you don't, in the city at nighttime, you don't take the chance. In the day, maybe if they want to say like, not really. You still try and just walk right past them.
What happens there? Like, what's the crime there? They take out a knife and mug you or what are you worried about? A man, I mean, like in general, what happens there? What do you hear about on the news? No, yeah. You're saying in the city you don't take a chance. What do you hear about on the news? Muggings? What dude,
I'm just not trying to get in any kind of tussle at night. You just don't know what they have on them. Like I don't trust what they have in their pockets. That's the only thing. Like it doesn't matter what you have or don't have. If they pull out a gun, you're done for. You lose all whatever
I'm
you have
saying
on
is,
you.
Do they do that there?
I don't know. I'm in the city. I just assume the worst when I'm in the city at nighttime. I have a knife on me, but that's all I have. So I'm like, if I can avoid a fight, I will. I'll run, obviously. If it's like a street fight or something and someone challenges me, it's different. But if it's like let me just get home and there's some random person in an alley, then I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm going to go around this dude. I'm going to do anything I can to not interact with them because I don't know what they have. But also I was going to pour gas on the fire about what you said about treating yourself nicer. that on, because I remember I struggled with that for a long time, because I was like, I want to treat myself nicer. I just like can't. Like I say I do, and then I like tell myself, oh, good job. I don't believe it. So like, what can I do to change that narrative in my head where it's like I can actually feel that, and actually know it. And one thing that helped was like
make a gratitude.
Huh?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were really asking. Yeah,
for sure, gratitude. Yeah, I was gonna say 100% gratitude, but also like knowing that every person who is great has an opposite. There's a reason they went all the way to the extreme of the best. It's because they had such shit over here that's why they pushed all the way. Everyone in the middle who's kind of in between, that's why they stay in between. There's not enough momentum to shift you back. So anyone who's that's why like Rogan, the #1 podcast in the world, he's like, bro, I wake up and I hate myself so much that if I don't put myself to the hardest workout ever in the morning first thing, I can't do the rest of my day. I have to punish myself. I have to suffer. And you're like, that's weird. It's like, no, it's not weird. It's extreme. And that's why he's the #1. And it's kind of one of the things where if you're a man, or if you're anyone, I'm not a woman, so I don't want to say as a woman, but like as a man, there's a lot of men out there, I would say, that have that feeling, but only a small percentage acknowledge it and say, oh, wait, it's supposed to be hard. The hardest people, you have to like, I want to be a hard person. If I'm a hard man, then I can actually accomplish that thing. If a hard man would do it, because a hard man's been there and he's done that. When I was on my 14-mile run yesterday, after the 4th hill, because Washington's very hilly, it wasn't like a straight run. It was a 14-mile of this. It was miserable, right? But on the 4th uphill, I had already done 3 of them. And I was like, damn, bro, I'm pretty tired. I don't know if I can do this. But then I was like, of course I can do that. I just did it 3 times. And I did it a 4th time. And then the 5th time, I said, I already did it 4 times. Of course I can do it a 5th time. I couldn't do it 4 times, I thought, but I did it all 4 times. So I am stronger than I thought. And when you start to build that, there's a reason that extreme people have extreme experiences and have done a lot of things, because that's required to get to that extreme. And so if you change that narrative and say, I want to be a hard man because a hard man is what's required to be there, then you now want to. I crave the cold shower, even though I know it's going to suck and I don't want to initially, but I want to because I want to be a person who does cold showers, because a person who does cold showers is a person who's successful and wants to do something. And when I change that narrative to be like, I want to be someone who's hard as fuck, because a person who's hard as fuck is the one who's going to go and do the thing, then I craved to do that hard thing. And I crave the morning run. I crave the sweat now. And I did not have that a few months ago. I literally avoided anything hard because I said, I want my life to be convenient though. I don't want to be hard because like I'm trying to make my life easier. If I make my life easier, I'll have so much more success. And then I did the opposite and was like, oh, wait, why do I hate myself every day if all I'm doing is easy stuff? And the answer is you can't enjoy the easy stuff without doing the work. That's what makes the easy stuff nice. You get to go enjoy it because you earned it. But if you go enjoy it because you didn't earn it, the whole time you're sitting there thinking about the fact that you didn't earn it and you've ruined your vacation now. And for men, that's their biggest issue is they can't feel satisfaction because they don't respect themselves. If you respect yourself, you would be able to enjoy it. You can enjoy reading and spending some time and not working as hard for a couple hours because you earned.
Yeah, you've got to feel like you've earned it. I do think also that people, there's someone who did a thread, a big NFT guy who lost 150 ETH worth of stuff. He was hacked, and he took 3 weeks off. And he did a thread recently, which I actually commented on today. On Facebook, I commented on it to him, but he basically, I'll try to find it while I'm talking. He basically was saying that he's now grateful for that like rock bottom because
NFT
it's
God?
given him it was NFT God.
Yeah.
He posted a long tweet thread today.
He basically, guys, for anyone who doesn't know, he lost all his everything. He's a big prominent Twitter person. Lost his email list. Everything was hacked. Everything was scammed. He lost all his money, lost all his assets, and I thought it was over. And then he made the fucking comeback, bro, because he's got all the tools. The thing, if you're a hard person, you acquire the tools required to win. You still have those, even when you lose everything. So you're capable.
Yeah, so
you've done it.
I want to show this to you. I'll read it to you. It's not too long.
It's pretty fucking long, bro.
Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing.
Say the point of it?
Yeah, so he had a whole lot of stuff. He took 3 weeks off. His whole dream was that he was going to become full-time into Web3, but when he lost that money, that $150,000, that dream went away. He took 3 weeks off, and then he says, yeah, this is where it's important. This is what I'm trying to tell. It's funny what being in the trenches does to you. Because I don't like to say other people's stuff as my own, so I think it's important to comment where it comes from
Yeah.
and to also read it so that I'm not making things incorrect, saying he said it. It's funny what being in the trenches does to you. Being at rock bottom, it changes you. It changes the way you think. It changes the way you operate. I don't mean to offend anyone, but I don't think people who are handed everything, who have never faced a true challenge, can ever truly experience the hardening that comes from hitting rock bottom. There's a mental toughness you can't create through meditation and saunas that can only be got from being punched squarely in the face. That punch in January changed me. When I came back from that long break, I was a different man, a completely transformed emotionally. The small things that bothered me before no longer bothered me. I came back to my singular goal in mind, which is building a business and working on myself. I doubled down on my effort. I doubled down on eliminating distractions. 3 months after the hack, I managed to quit my job. My newsletter and socials were growing, and so good stuff came. Now, both Kate and I have got very similar stories in that we were both homeless. Kate is probably more known because he documented it. And I'm not going to go into too much details, but basically after school, I decided to travel. I sold, the few things that I had to get a ticket. I went to the UK, and I ended up literally being homeless there. I couldn't find a job no matter how hard I tried. Couldn't get any money, and I would sleep during the day because at night time to sleep in the park, I was too scared. And at night time, I would stay awake and stay. There was a 24-hour shop that I would sit on the floor there because there was lights and people coming in and out. I felt a bit safer. And then I finally did get a job there, and I worked as a waiter. And I remember serving these people, and they were very nice people, serving these people at this five-star restaurant in Bournemouth, which is like by the sea outside of London, but in the UK. And I thought to myself, how do these people afford to stay here? I mean, it was a really fancy and expensive silver service hotel. Like there's 30 steps to opening a wine and tasting in a bucket and all that crap that I had to learn, right? And I really just thought, how do you ever achieve that? And I think being literally homeless and then coming back here to South Africa and saying I'm not gonna be that guy who's homeless. I'm not gonna be that waiter. I want to be that person that can go to that hotel once in a while and be served by someone. Now, I'm not saying that it's me alone. I think a lot of it has to do with hard work, but a lot of it also has to do with fate and good luck and blessing. And you put yourself in the right place at the right time. But a lot of people work incredibly hard with that same intention, and it doesn't happen for them. So I don't want to sound like it's all my doing. I strongly believe in God and a higher power and all the rest of that. However, I came back hungrier than any of my friends, I'll tell you that, who had not been homeless for 2 weeks, scared that they were going to be killed while they were trying to sleep and all the rest of that. Like, to realize when you have literally nothing, to realize what having nothing feels like gives you a hunger and a drive that cannot be replicated in any way whatsoever by anything except for having nothing, like literally nothing. And I think there's a strong power in that. And I commented on this thread and I said, well done to you and long may it continue. But I do think that, and that's the other thing, is that things that are horrible experiences, often when you look back, you can see that those were the things that shaped you to be the person that you are. So even my dad, like, he was incredibly wealthy up until I was like in high school, and then he lost everything. And at the time I thought it was the end of my world to have it. I thought I would never. I mean, I remember him coming to me when I was 17 saying, look, you got to get a job. I can't continue paying for these things. And he was crying at the time because he didn't want me to have to work for my school books or whatever it may be at the time, right? And I thought, poor me, I really did. But I went out and I got those jobs and I did those things. And looking back, what I thought was a really bad situation for me, selfishly, was actually the biggest blessing, because it gave me a drive and a hunger to say, look, boy, and he didn't say this, but if you don't do it, there's no backup plan anymore, because dad can't help you anymore. So you've got to do it yourself. There was nothing left. And that really is a motivating factor for me. And it always has been that, look, there's no backup. What am I going to do if there isn't a certain amount of money to be able to buy food that week?
Yeah. There's a certain level of honor and respect in just trying and being, just attempting to not fall into that worst position. I mean, that's why there's like a certain level of like a fire burning inside of me no matter what. It's not always that strong of a fire, but it never ever goes out because my intention is set on not letting it go out. Like the whole thing of this thing is like not to fall into that. So the only way to not fall in is to let go. Like it's like you're on a rope. Like sometimes you're climbing really hard and you're going hard as fuck. Sometimes you're sitting there. Sometimes you slide down, but you never let go of the rope. Some people do, but there's always a fire in me, and that's how I kind of visualize it. It's like there's a part of the rope that like no matter what, how hard it gets, I'm still got like one hand on the rope, and there's no situation where I let go. Like I'm always got one hand on the rope and I'm always going. So if you never like, eventually you get somewhere. It only stops when you give up. So what's up, Devin?
For sure.
Hey, bro.
And I'll also say this. I mean, just I don't want to share Crypto Dream's comment, but I do want to respond to it. And I'll just say, Crypto Dream, that in my experience, and this is honestly and true, the times where I felt the most hopeless in my life over the times, whether that be like before I met Bianca, and I really felt like I needed a partner, like a life partner, you know, and I felt like now was the time for me, and it didn't happen when I thought it was the time, and it took a little bit longer. Thought it was never ever going to happen. That's when the magic happens. When you get to a point, generally, no matter what it is, where you feel like this is never going to be okay. If you're able to push past that point and continue going regardless of that, usually that's when something's just about to break. That's the real test. If you fall then, it's like you've done 90 miles of the race and there's 10 miles left, you know, and everything is so sore and it's the hardest, and it's because you've done 90 miles already. But the problem in this example is you don't know where the finish line is.
Yeah.
But it's if you knew it was right there, you just got to keep on going. It's right there. You carry on, no problem. But you don't know that. But usually when it feels the hardest and the worst, that's when the finish line is almost there. And if you can just push yourself a little bit more, that's usually where things turn around. From my experience in many different things. So that would be my best advice to anyone that's feeling a bit like it's hopeless, it's not really where it should be, is just keep pushing and keep doing your best every day, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that version of you that wins is the only way he got there, or she, is literally if they had indeed not stopped. That's the only difference between you and the dream version of you. Is you're like, damn, like that version of me is just so far away. You're like, no, that is not at all far away. He just like is a bit further away in time, and he did the thing that you're trying not to do. You don't want to do this because it makes you feel uncomfortable or it's hard. Until like the second you do that one thing, that respect that you'll gain is so monumentally shifting of how you view yourself. You carry yourself differently. And when your bar of what you accept for yourself is set at 3 out of 10 for so long, and then you do something really hard and that shifts to 6, now your baseline is 6. You're operating at a 9 instead of operating at a 6 for your like good stuff. Now you're operating at a 9 because your frequency at the base level is 6 instead of 3. That's how you win, because now you're operating a lot more days at 9 when a few months ago you were operating a lot of days at 6 for your good stuff. And it builds and builds and builds and it gets better and better and better. That's why every time I look back, even times when I had more money, I would not ever go back to that time. Like I remember one time I was like, damn, I wish I had more money. There was a period like a few months ago where I had like this much money, like that would be great. But then I thought, I was like, would I ever go back to that? And I look back at my content, I'm like, oh, I remember when I was there. I remember when I posted that. I remember what I was thinking. I remember what I was going through. I remember who I hadn't met yet a few months ago. And I'm like, no, I would always choose today's version of me than 6 months ago or 6 years ago or 6 days ago. I'll always choose this one, which means that will always be the case in the future too. You will always choose that version of you than the one in the past, meaning that you got to keep going, bro.
And the other thing is, when you do keep going and you are able to overcome those challenges, you can always draw on that. So you can, when you struggle the next time with something completely different, you say to yourself, but remember that time when we overcame, or I or we or whatever overcame that. If we could have overcome that, and we did, we can overcome this. And it strengthens you for the future. Whereas when you give up, when you're 5 miles away from the finish line, you always live with that, and you don't get that extra power of knowing I overcame it. You know,
Yeah.
so I've often said to Bianca, and again, I'm not going to go deep into it, but you know, when we had our twins, we had a lot of very serious health complications, and very serious, like life-threatening health complications with our babies. And that year was absolute hell for us, for Bianca and I. as new parents with two new sick children, who are, thank God, doing incredibly well, and thriving. However, I've often said to Bianca during other hard times that we've had, not equivalent to that, Doll, if we could have overcome what we overcame with Danny and Jag, we can overcome this, no problem. And she looks at me and she says, for sure, this is nothing. And that's and there were times at that point where we thought, how are we going to overcome this, and can we? And literally, we went into survival mode where, listen, we're not going to talk about how this feels. We're not here to cry. We need to get through this. We need to get through today. How do we do that? You go and stay at the hospital with that one. I'm going to stay here with this one. You this, you that. That's it. And you just sort of, you do it. Giving up's not an option. And anyone who's even close to that, giving up is not an option. Persevere, and you will strengthen yourself, and that strength will be carried with you your whole life, that you'll use it in other hard times that come forward for you, hopefully.
Dude, let me say one last thing, because we've probably beat a dead horse at this point, but this is so crazy because trading has so many links to life. If you think about what it takes to go to the next level for a stock price to go up, it requires a higher high. Right? Meaning you need to go, and whatever your hardest experience was a few years ago, a few decades ago, even a few months ago, whatever it is, you need to have a higher high. Because if you don't, your baseline will never get higher up. Your average buy-in will never get higher up. But if your average, highest, hardest thing keeps going up, and you keep doing hard shit, and you keep securing those higher lows, those higher highs, you have no choice but to rise up.
As the same, also with trading.
For later.
Also with trading, when the floor price is the lowest, so when life feels the hardest, if you sell at that point, you selling the bottom. You got to hold. That's when you got to hold your ape. When the floor price goes to 26 Ethereum, never mind. That's when you got to buy. You got to double. You got to double it. You got to buy in at those points. When life is at its lowest point for you, that's when you're being tested. If you can hold during that point, you're going to see the rise. If you sell at that point, you've held all the way down. You're going to miss the rise that's just around the corner.
Based. That's how you know it's all about your intention, because if your intent and your goal is to have the price go up, then you have no choice. You know the answer. The answer is locked in. At the support level, I buy. Meaning when I hit rock bottom, I go up and I push through because my goal is to get up. If my goal is down because I've given up, then of course you gave up. That's why you gave up. If your goal is not to, though, you need to understand the only way you get there is by buying that bottom and pushing through and continuing to show fucking resistance to that support, and you move up, bro. This is why you need to learn how to trade.
Where's a microphone that we can drop?
Fuck.
I've just got
Someone drop a microphone in the chat. I saw a Crypto Dream drop one earlier. Drop it again, bro.
All right, guys. Well, if you've stayed with us, thanks for joining. If you just came, you've been here for a while, thanks for joining. We love doing this. We love you guys watching us do this, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, for another awesome show. Cade, thank you. A beautiful year ahead. Happy birthday again, my brother. And we will see everyone next week. Be kind to each other and be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. Guys. Hit that retweet button. Hit that like if you enjoyed the show. See y'all.